Is low-code and automation anti-pattern? Do a majority of organizations recognize value in AI-augmented DevOps? And what are the top application security trends for 2022? Final answers to these and all other end-to-end full pipeline DevOps, automation testing, performance testing, SRE, and security testing in 10 minutes or less in this episode of the TestGuild News Show for the week of August 8th. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea and let's do this. This episode of the TestGuild News Show is sponsored by the awesome folks at Applitools. Visual AI validation testing is a must-have for any automation testing project. So if you're not doing it, don't miss out. Check it out yourself by creating a free account now by clicking in the link in the comment down below. And while you're there, why not leave a comment, subscribe, and get alerted every time I release a new episode. First up, automation news. Are you looking for a few resources related to APIs and API testing? If so, I have a few links for you. So this is from Priscilla, and she lists out a few links that she recommends. And when you're done checking out those links, make sure to check out my interview with Priscilla on API testing and mocking in episode 402. So I know a lot of testers that have to deal with ERP transformations. How do you include continuous automation testing to make sure it's critical that everyone's on board when you're going through these ERP transformations? That's what this next article is all about. So this next one was posted by the folks at Appium about their thought leadership alongside Forrester on continuous automation testing is critical for enterprises undergoing ERP transformations. This article goes over what are some of the main benefits of moving to the cloud for each provider. It also talks about challenges teams face in migrations and also best practices to avoid migration delays and cost overruns. It's definitely a topic I know a lot of testers are struggling with. If this is something you and your organization are going through, definitely a read that you should check out in the first comment down below. So besides ERP, another trend you've probably been hearing more about is low code. So you may be wondering, is avoiding low code an automation anti-pattern? But this next article is by the awesome Paul Grisafi to break it all down for you. And so Paul just breaks down all the reasons why low code, no code may or may not be the right solution for you, or maybe even help illuminate what your understanding is of what actual low code actually means. Paul, like myself, actually thinks that there's a place for low code and no code and record and playback techniques within your software development lifecycle. It all depends on the context and what you're testing. And he goes over some of the reasons why that is. I 100% agree with Paul. And if you don't, or if you do, just check out that article and let me know your thoughts on low code, no code, and if you agree with Paul or not. One thing I know a lot of automation engineers struggle with is running their automation suites fast and run them in parallel. So this next news article came across the wire on LambdaTest. LambdaTest has been releasing a lot of cool things recently. And this next one is a new functionality that they just released last week. So LambdaTest announced its intelligent test automation platform. HyperExecute is now available on Microsoft Azure Marketplace. And it just goes over a little bit about what is LambdaTest HyperExecute. It's basically a next-generation smart test orchestration platform that helps testers and developers run end-to-end automation. If it's Selenium, Playwright, or any other type of automation technology, test at the fastest speed possible. And they give a statistic that it's up to 70% faster than traditional cloud-based automation grids. It also goes over some of the benefits of using this alongside Microsoft Azure. So if you're struggling to run your tests in a timely manner, definitely a solution you should check out in the first comment down below. A lot of times when you're developing automation for a long time, like I have been, you may be caught in certain ways of doing things. But this could be holding back your automation test suite. And this next webinar is all about how to improve your Selenium test automation across multiple different browsers. And the webinar is called Modern Cross-Browser Testing with Selenium and Java. And it talks about a lot of people can get Selenium WebDriver to work effectively, but they do a lot of old school type techniques that may be slowing them down across different browsers. This webinar is going to go over a bunch of different things. It's an hour-long workshop with Andy Knight, the automation panda, that will explain how to create ultra-fast automation cross-browser tests using Applitools eyes with Selenium WebDriver and Java, and how to integrate them into CI/CD. So after this webinar, you should know the importance of cross-browser testing, what the critical requirements are for scalable cross-browser testing initiatives, and pros and cons of different approaches, how to implement a modern cross-browser solution using Applitools eyes and Selenium WebDriver, and how to accelerate your test automation with integration into different CI/CD pipelines to achieve continuous testing. Anytime I see Andy doing a webinar, I highly recommend you attend, and this is no exception. And don't miss out, register down below in that first comment down below. So one of the benefits of Appium 2.0 is the ability to create custom plugins. And so this next article is how Srini has created a custom plugin that you must have if you're using Appium 2.0. And this Appium plugin is called Appium Weight Plugin. It will automatically manage all element weights and enables the writing of weight-free tests. It's available on GitHub right now for free, so definitely check out this plugin. And if you like it, if it gave you value, make sure to star this GitHub to show Srini you really appreciate his hard work and all he does for the Appium community. It's definitely a must-have for anyone doing any type of Appium automation. Next up, performance and site reliability testing. One of the things that really drives your metrics of like Google kind of core vitals is page loads. And so this next article talks about early hints, which helps you speed up page loads by preloading resources from preloaded pre-connected headers while the server generates HTML. And there's a link to why this is important and also how early hints works. And it also has an example of how this actually is working with Chrome's experiments with Cloudflare and Shopify. So if you dive in deeper, you'll find out why faster page loads using server think time with early hints is important and actually how to do it. It talks about what is early hints, how to implement early hints, some current limitations, and what's next. So if you're using Chrome 1.03 and you want to speed up page loads, definitely check out this article on early hints on how to do so. So if you're a tester, you probably heard of AI as it applies to functional automation. Well, this next article talks about how more and more organizations are starting to see the value of AI as it applies to other DevOps type of activities. So Tricentis recently announced the findings of a global survey of more than 2,600 DevOps practitioners in their AI-augmented DevOps, the Next Frontier study. And the study examines AI augmentation in DevOps environments and finds that a majority of organizations value AI-augmented DevOps and recognizes its potential to fuel innovation and impact businesses. It found that nearly 70% of respondents rated the potential of AI-augmented testing as extremely or very valuable, and 65% of respondents thought AI-augmented testing is particularly well-suited for functional tests, and respondents also noted UI tests, unit testing, performance testing as areas of promise for the application of AI-based technologies. So this survey basically confirms that AI-augmented DevOps, or AI as it applies to automation, is not going away. This hype is here to stay. So do you agree? Definitely check out the results of that survey and let me know your thoughts in the comment down below. Next up, security news. Want to know what the top application security trends are for 2022? If so, I've got you covered. This next article found its way to my news desk from Brett Jenkins, really good resource at Micro Focus, and he has a link to a report by CyberRes on what are the key application security trends for 2022. The first one is securing the software supply chain. The second one is API security. Third is AppSec is evolving, shift left and shift everywhere. Fourth is cloud native AppSec. 5 is AppSec orchestration and correlation. 6 is next generation DAS. And 7 is machine learning and AI, are key to the next evolution of automation. If you really want to dive in, you definitely want to read this full report. And it's curious to see how AI and machine learning appear in this study, which is completely different than the survey results from Tricentis. So if you're down on AI, if you're down on machine learning, I don't think you can ignore it any longer. So as we saw, one of the trends in the last article is how critical it is to start securing the supply chain. And so one way of doing that is SBOM. So this next article is all about a free tool that can help you with SBOM creation. So the company Contrast Security announced that software composition analysis is now available for free with their product CodeSec. And for links of everything of value we covered in this news episode, make sure to head on over to the links in the first comment down below. And while you're there, make sure to check out our awesome sponsor, Applitools, free account offer, and discover how to take your automation testing to the next level, leveraging visual AI. So that's it for this episode of the TestGuild News Show. I'm Joe. My mission is to help you succeed in creating end-to-end full-stack pipeline automation awesomeness. As always, test everything and keep the good. Cheers.